social media advertising actually behaves faster than search engine marketing in general, because in social media, generally speaking, the platform of the social media platform controls the entire ecosystem, or most of the ecosystem. In a logical sense, it's the social media platforms have a lot more control, and that's why they get the speed, because a search engine has to go to a third-party website to do their thing, you see, and they have to rely on the Google Analytics pixel or whatever pixel that you need to put on that website. Control is not as tight.
Welcome back to the High Ticket AI Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome one and only Mr. Clarence Ling. Clarence, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm very good. It's early morning in Western Australia, but I currently deal with the eastern states of Australia, so I need to wake up earlier anyway. And if I'm dealing with Americans in the future, this time slot is actually very good.
Understood. And for those listening, it is 3 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Eastern. And I just want to acknowledge your backdrop. Your backdrop right now, my friend, is supreme, A1, day one, super sexy. I love that. Now, for the audience's sake, can we get some clarity as to what the company does and who you guys serve best?
Okay, we do advertising and AI agents relevant to client acquisition. We primarily do demographical-based advertising, which means that usually it's social media advertising, which is not actually that common in the legal space, because a lot of the legal space internationally, even in the USA, they focus a lot on Google and keywords, and they don't even use YouTube very often. So we like to find who your ideal customer is, rather than who's the one that wants you the fastest and the most urgent. We focus on who you want as a profile of client you want.
So it sounds like you really dive into the specific avatar or a specific ICP. You said social media. So are you referring to both Meta and Google, or what do you mean?
Primarily Meta and LinkedIn, but we are flexible enough to be able to do TikTok and other things, including X. If there's any crypto law stuff that you need to do, we can do that. But the thing is that the Google network is primarily, or even the Microsoft advertising Bing network is primarily keyword based. You can have demographics. There's things like in-market attributes, like in-market for gardening, for example, in-market for legal services, or in-market for certain services. But it's not the primary thing of search engine marketing. So we like to deal with Meta and LinkedIn because it allows us to get who they want. For example, a construction law firm in any country, really, they want to be dealing with sophisticated contractors or sophisticated developers or sophisticated building companies. You can't get that on Meta because there's no field or no switch to flip for you to be able to get that. But you can get that on LinkedIn because there's a whole category and some niches that fit that kind of thing on LinkedIn. So surprisingly, for a construction law firm, LinkedIn is actually a very good and underused platform. So we like to match what the customer or client says they want to where they need to be in order to get who they want as their primary ideal client.
I think that's a very, very good approach. Instead of the client finding you, you should go out there and find your client. When you go out there and find your client, you can be selective. You can really niche down as to who the hell you want as a client. I'm a fan of that, because sometimes when people are coming to you, they're not a good fit. They don't have budget, not your ICP, and like you don't really weed them out early on enough. Where outbound, you can be very selective. With that being said, do you work with a specific set of lawyers or a lawyer type, or?
We prefer to work with what's called transactional lawyers or transactional law. Okay. The thing is that there's two types of, there's three actually, three types of law. One is called litigious or urgent, which means that you're getting sued or you have to sue very fast. That's what we don't like to do, because the only way you can get that happening quickly is through search engine marketing, because you cannot search in a social media platform. In a social media platform, you get served randomly stuff they think you're interested in. So criminal law can't really do much other than search engine marketing like Google. Certain commercial litigation that's really urgent and serious, we can't touch that. But things like family law, personal injury, we can easily do that. Wills and estates, easy to do on social media. But some of those are actually hybrid practice areas, like family law and personal injury is actually about suing people or getting sued. Okay. But the thing is different is because for family law and personal injury, the matters last for like 3 years. So because they last for 3 years or even 5 years or something like that, the time that the person needs the service is actually protracted and lengthened. And that's why it behaves transactionally, even though it's actually a litigious form of law. And that's why it's a hybrid. But there are some areas of law which almost completely transactional, which is probably closer to migration that's not a dispute, or
Understood.
immigration in the USA.
So how does that work from a sales cycle perspective on the lawyer's side? If I'm working, go for it.
Okay, so the thing is that probably the transactional areas of law are much closer to a marketing agency getting clients. It's a latent demand. It's not like an urgent demand or a specific demand. It's like a generalized, more long-term demand. So it's actually a lot better for law firms because it gives you more control. If the thing is that urgent, right, or that specific, the issue is that you need to react very fast, extremely fast, like with AI agents and the supporting sales team outbound calling. Now that is actually very high pressure and also high leakage, because if you don't get to them fast enough and they need a lawyer now, they've already got the lawyer in maybe half an hour, an hour, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So matters that have a longer latent demand gives the sales team and the marketing team a lot more control and time really to react. Whereas in normal situations, for the litigious matters that are purely litigious or urgent, you don't get that kind of leeway or like flexibility.
Yeah, I feel like this actually goes across the board, kind of from an agency perspective, but you don't want to work with clients where they need clients now, they need money now, because then typically they're a bad client or they're just not good people to work with. And I'm sure you know exactly what I mean when I say that. You want to work with the companies where it's like, I really don't need more clients, or like I have a boatload of money, I have cash reserves. Like I'm always open to taking on more clients. You know what I mean? Those clearly have success in a certain area and they just need to put gasoline on the fire, so to say. How does your, I guess, pricing model, not exact pricing, but like pricing model work for the company?
So because we work with social media, most of the time we will have video involved, whether it's AI video or or traditional video, the ones that manually shot and edited. It just depends on the situation. So if you want to build multiple campaigns at once, it actually gets cheaper per price per unit, because instead of having to shoot in separate sessions and studio shots or whatever that we need to get done, it gets all done at once. And so there's some savings when you stack it up. But at the same time, when we have one package or one campaign, we focus on what you want the most or what you tell us that you want the most. Because we would have a strategy session that's paid beforehand, and we would ensure that we get the area of law and the service that you want to target that will get you the fastest results with the most bang for buck and most ROI that we think is possible. So, and the thing is that we can bundle it with AI agents. Not everyone wants the AI agents for some reason, but we can at least bundle a few, like up to 5 agents, and have booking agents, SMS agents, certain voice agents, inbound, outbound. That's how our packages are. So it's kind of modular in some sense, but it's also custom in the sense that it depends on how much you say you want at once, and also whether do you want the AI or not, or do you only want one AI bot, or are you happy with 3 to 5 AI bots? So that's how it fits up. Like the most expensive setup we've done, excluding the retainers and the ongoing costs, reached about 45 grand US AUD. So it can get very high. But the main reason why it's high is because we're stacking a lot of things together. Now, the reason for that, why that's important, is that when you're advertising, right? There's some people who have the philosophy of saying that, oh, we start small and we grow it. We don't have that philosophy. We actually say, if you want success, you stack your elements that give you success immediately. That's why depending on how much you want to do and how much you want to achieve, it gets more expensive in the start. Not because we're trying to charge without giving value, but it's just that if you want your advertising to succeed and you're paying money for fuel, you see, advertising is not organic. You pay money for fuel. Do you want your fuel to go further, or do you want your fuel to just run out halfway? So by stacking your odds until you get the best chance of getting a return as high as possible, that's what we want to do, and why our packages and the modular thing works like that, and why when we work on your file as a client, we want results nearly immediately. We can usually get it within a few days, or at most 2 to 4 weeks. Whereas a lot of agencies will say, oh, you need to wait 3 to 6 months. No. And the thing is that social media advertising actually behaves faster than search engine marketing in general, because in social media, generally speaking, the platform of the social media platform controls the entire ecosystem, or most of the ecosystem. Okay, even if you look at these days with Meta and LinkedIn, I have to double check LinkedIn, but when you go off the website, it's using a Meta or LinkedIn browser to browse the web page. So they have control over what they can see and what they can measure a lot better than search engine marketing sometimes. I'm not saying that Google and Bing or Microsoft Advertising or similar with search engines do not have good data, but it's just that in a logical sense, it's the social media platforms have a lot more control, and that's why they get the speed, because a search engine has to go to a third-party website to do their thing, you see, and they have to rely on the Google Analytics pixel or whatever pixel that you need to put on that website. It's not, the control is not as tight, and that's why when you deal with Google advertising, you have to wait for a certain number of conversions in the month or something like that. You know what I mean? There's those typical metrics that you need to wait on to happen for the thing to actually work properly. The reason is being that I believe, anyway, I can't prove it in this case, but I believe it's because the nature of search engine compared to social media is such that they have a lower locus control as a search engine.
You bring up a great point. For traditional Google advertisements, it takes at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months in your case, for it to fully optimize and get the result that you're after. With Meta, and I love Meta for this reason, you can turn on the ad campaign today and get results tomorrow or the following day, as long as the campaign is good. And if you seriously want to print cash, that's what I call it, because like you spend $1 and you earn $5 in return. That is a printing machine. I will spend infinite dollars if I create more dollars as the outcome. And I think a lot of business owners don't. Sure, maybe they understand that, but some of them are like, I have to spend money on marketing to like get clients. Like, what? I don't want to do that. It's like, dude, you turn $1 to more dollars. And I could go on a rant. But I digress, my friend. Okay. Yeah, with Meta specifically, um, you actually I have a question for the 43K Aussie dollars. Was that 1 month or a total client?
It was a multi-campaign setup, so we did more than one campaign.
And when you say one campaign, this is where I want clarity. Is it legit one campaign in Meta?
Not necessarily, but it's one focus. But it can actually, it depends on how we want to structure it. The thing is that one thing that we are very good at is that okay, now some agencies or some agents or some even marketers or like clients ask people, it's not a common question, but it can happen. How much have you spent, or how much do you spend per month on Meta, Google, or so on, as a measure of how experienced or effective they are? The thing is that in my case, or in our case, we rarely go over $3,000 to $5,000 ad spend per campaign. The reason being, by front loading the preparation with the videos, the content, the emails and stuff, we reduce the cost per lead. So when you reduce the cost per unit, the cost per lead of getting the leads and the cost per client or cost per sale, you don't need that much spend per campaign. And not only that, but sometimes the campaign structure is simpler, because the thing is that a lot of people want retargeting, or they think they want retargeting, okay? But nobody tells you that on Meta and Google and so on, usually the requirement is 1,000 unique users. And you need time to get those unique users, and they expire every 90 days or so, or maybe maximum 180 day expiry. Okay, so when people come to me and they ask, I want retargeting, I say, why? Do you have the audience already, or do we have to build it up? Because if we have to build it up from scratch, it's going to take time no matter what you do, unless you, and you can't always pump a whole lot of money just to get the audience fast. It doesn't work that way, because sometimes the saturation point is read too quickly. So, yeah, so it can be one campaign, but not necessarily. It just depends on the
so
situation.
when you say one campaign, you're referring to one attorney going after one avatar or one ICP. Is that kind of what? Okay, thank you. Okay, that makes so much sense. And I imagine that these attorneys can't, work with infinite clients, right? So 3 to 5K per month on a campaign or for an avatar, I feel like that's pretty reasonable. Like they can acquire enough clients from that.
Exactly. I mean, some of them only need 3 to 4 clients a month if it's personal injury. And it depends on what size of law firm you're after as well, because if you're after like up to 20 lawyers, 50 lawyers, or 50 in a team, like they don't need as much as 100 lawyer, 200 lawyer firm. But also the thing is that their client profile is very different. Like the 100 to 200 lawyer firm may want really complex cases because they're able to do that. They've got an army or a small squadron of lawyers just working on one case. Whereas a smaller law firm might want a simpler type of case. And they don't need that much, because you don't need that many lawyers to service it.
You typically find better results on Meta for the smaller law firms, and do you like working with the larger law firms? 2 questions.
Meta is well, actually, it's not about Meta. It's about where the clients are, because I've had situations that I've told you earlier, like where LinkedIn is even better than Meta, or LinkedIn is the only way to do it other than Meta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I do work with larger law firms up to 200, but usually I supply AA agents for that. The reason being is that a lot of the larger law firms have solidified very tight relationships with their existing marketing agency, and to dislodge them is not an easy thing. So you might as well give them a service that they don't already have, and not argue with them so much, really.
For sure. You don't want to, unless it's kind of like a tax A CPA is what we call it in the States, but it's like your tax guy. Like, unless they mess up bad, like they're probably going to stick with their tax guy for life, you know? When you say AI agents, give us some examples. I know you said booking, SMS, calling, inbound, outbound. Any others that you would utilize?
We normally only deal with client acquisition AI, and there's a reason for that. Okay. The reason is that there are so many, even in Australia, there's a few of them, okay? And we're a small country in population, but there's a few specialized, really specialized, legal AI companies. We can't compete with them because we don't have that many lawyers or legal people with legal I'm the only one with legal background. We don't have that many people with legal background on the team. And like, and it's really, really compliance heavy and regulation heavy. Like, you can't just make stuff up on the project and Claude or something. But that's so we normally deal with the client acquisition ones, like the web agent, which is on chat, form reply agent. So they reply to the form. Emails, we can use AI. Sometimes you can just use automation for emails. You don't always need to use AI for emails. You use AI for SMS. AI for SMS is actually one of our more in demand and better ones because a lot of people actually don't pick up phone calls anymore, and the SMSs get them booked in with the calendar. So on top of that, the calendar booking system, we can provide knowledge base, but when we do provide knowledge base, we want to do it in the sense of like marketing, advertising, or client acquisition, because of that issue with being compliant in a legal sense. We're definitely not gonna compete with any legal matter management or CRM software like Action Step or anything like that, because if we do, we're going to lose in day one. And that's the thing that we like to do. We like to have a good chance of winning when we do something. If there's no chance or little chance of winning, we generally won't do it.
Makes total sense, right? I mean, why fight an uphill battle when you don't have to? When you are running ads on behalf of your clients for lawyers, can you describe like how the campaign is structured? This is what I really want to know. The funnel mechanism, the funnel type. Is it a lead form or do you take them to a landing page?
It depends on the situation. The fastest way to build it is actually lead form. And lead form, I don't know whether you should say this, but not in the sense that it's negative or anything, but before AI, right? Lead forms can get you cheap leads and they get you lots and lots of leads. That's not a problem. The problem is filtering them out and following them up.
Yes, that part, 100%. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of lead forms because you can get a lot and a lot aren't good. Like a lot of the leads coming through that specific funnel type were not good. So we switched to like a video sales letter call funnel where they watch a video, book a call, and then that's typically how it went. But are you doing lead funnels now? And it sounds to me like you're filtering them out kind of automatically based on qualifications, etc.
You can use a more detailed lead form, or you can do both actually, which is lead form and SMS booking. There is an advantage in doing the SMS booking in the back of lead form. That's why I was trying to say that the disadvantage of lead form is that it's too easy to opt in. But at the same time, because there's so much volume, if you have a way to filter it out and follow up, then there's no problem. That's why the SMS agent is good for lead forms.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, because there's this guy that I listen to, and he's pretty good at it. He knows his stuff. He said the only way that our clients really succeed with lead forms is if there's a human or a setter, not the closer and the founder, but like a setter to filter through all the leads. And you have to be pretty aggressive about it, right? Like always following up, always calling them, always texting them. Cause like it takes a minute, it takes a long time for like people to connect with you and then eventually book an appointment. So if you have that AI like system in place, I can see how clients would like that.
Yeah, we do deal with lead landing pages and funnels as well. It's not that we don't. It's just that it depends on the situation, because if the audience is too small for some reason, then it's harder to use a landing page, because there's a nominal penalty of cost per landing page view in a small audience. So that's when we have to use lead forms just to capture more volume. But if you can get the cost per landing page view and the conversion cost down enough, then it won't matter, and you can use a landing page funnel because it's definitely more qualified, and you have to watch the video and stuff. So in some sense, the nurturing and the qualification is way better in a landing page funnel. But it just depends on the situation. That's why we custom design our campaigns. It's a bit modular, but at the same time, it's definitely depending on what you say you want, why you say you want what you want, and how can we actually achieve it if we think we know how to achieve it. Like, for example, in my case, I'm advertising to lawyers in Australia initially. The refresh rate of that campaign, of the campaigns I had to do, is ridiculous. But the reason is that there's only 50,000 relevant law firms, lawyers and managers of law firms that in the pool in Australia. 50,000 sounds like a lot, but considering that Meta can advertise to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, a few million people, it's ridiculously small. So I had to use a lead form. I tried to use a VSL and landing page funnel, but I just couldn't get the cost per landing page view down for myself to like work out a good cost per lead or cost per sale. You see, so a lot of people don't realize that what strategy you use, whether you want high volume, low volume, high intent, less intent, is somewhat dependent on the audience segmentation at the very least. Like, if you have, that's why we actually have a resource. It's just a table, but it's called the digital marketing matrix. And the thing is that in a country like Australia, as an agency targeting lawyers, LinkedIn outreach is far more important and more consistent than advertising, unless you can get the advertising refreshed that quickly, which is hard sometimes, because it burns through the list much slower. Like, it's an organic form of marketing. So advertising is actually a high burn rate, in not in the sense you're burning clients or burning leads or anything, but like the audience gets burnt out much faster, especially in the sense that they get bored of your content much faster if you don't have a large audience. And that's why I'm working on expanding to the US, because there are 4.2 million lawyers there. And I don't know how many law firm owners there are, but if the whole population of lawyers is 4.2 million, that's the largest and most numerous in the whole free world.
When do you plan on, I guess, attacking the States in a good way?
Building up an AI outreach system with actually an American supplier. We're aiming for October.
Okay, so in like 2 months.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, I think you'll definitely have a lot of success here. I believe that we need more marketers that help out attorneys. I feel like it's not a competitive landscape. I could be mistaken, but I don't think it is. And just go for it.
It is. It actually is competitive, whether it's US, UK, Australia, or so on. There's lots of people who want to target lawyers, but from my assessment, most of them are doing the SEO and Google Ads thing. Not as many of them are focusing on demographic or social media advertising.
That is, yes. You're the first company I heard of that actually specializes on Meta or social media for lawyers specifically, because of the reasons that you just said. Typically, it's SEO content or Google PPC. That being said, where can the people find you if they wanted to hit your website or explore more?
My website is marcolytics.com.au. To be upfront, Marcolytics is also an analytics company in Pakistan, but that's why I own the .com.au and not the .com. They own the .com. My handle on LinkedIn is actually the legal lead magnet. So if you go type in my LinkedIn URL as normal, my name the section that has my name is called The Legal Lead Magnet. So that's very easy to remember and it's very memorable. So I'm very active on organically on LinkedIn in my personal profile. I've taken a break for a while until the outreach systems are running, but I'll be hitting really hard once that's ready.
For sure. Well, Clarence, thanks for joining us, my man. It was a pleasure to have you on, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the call to come to the podcast. Thank you so much, Jordan.
You're welcome.